before I get started, I just want to say something to someone as briefly as possible because I can kind of go a little too far with it. This is for my cousin / younger sister, Jen. Yeah, / She's my cousin, but she loves me so much like an older brother. It's kind of a weird feeling knowing that before her, there was no one younger than me. And now there is someone younger than me, and she, maybe my cousin, she considers me her older brother, which is kind of strange. I want to be an older brother. I don't know how to be, but I try my best. Just for her, sorry, I am going to leave an email for her, and just to let her know I love her, and I'm okay, and I hope you're doing alright. And I wanted to mention in the video. Now, let's move on to Impact Wrestling. I want to say this. I want to apologize that I did not do my Impact Wrestling review last week. I'm not going to lie. I was frustrated. The way WWE has frustrated me is beyond no end. I'm happy that Kofi Kingston is getting his moment. I am going to do a video on that and probably will be shown after this. Either the next day or maybe crazy enough after I edit this and get it out before 2 o'clock in the morning. I may do another one. But next to him, 90% of the product has been garbage. Well, 10% of him with Randy Orton and AJ Styles and a few other things have been really cool. And it made me legitimately forget about Impact because I've been busy doing stuff, but I've been frustrated about wrestling and I forgot it. So I wish to apologize for that. But when I look at this Impact, this against all odds themed Impact, and you guys know I hate themed Impacts. I hate them. I despise them. I don't want them. But we are getting a Impact pay-per-view April 27th or 28th. I believe it's Rebellion. So knowing that this is going to be building into it makes it okay for me. Because at least I know next month we're getting a real pay-per-view. So how was this show? I'll give it to you like this. I agreed with a majority of most of what was going on. There was a few things I did not agree with. But when it comes down to it, WWE, take note. Because when it comes down to it, against all odds, a themed Impact from the second company in the world that is known to be the biggest just outshined both Raw and to a certain extent Smackdown. And I know that's saying a lot, particularly what happened with New Day and the gauntlet match, which was okay. It was a good gauntlet match. But still, this was better because it had more compelling stories going into it. Not one major story like a Kofi Kingston. It had multiple ones. Now, let's go to the match I really want to talk about first. And it's not going to be LAX versus the Lucha Brothers. I will get to that in a minute. Scarlett Bordeaux versus Disco Inferno. What is the guy? Glenn, what was it? Gil, whatever his last name is. I keep forgetting it. I don't care. Disco Inferno. Glenn Disco Inferno. That's what I'm going to call him. He's in my face. This was about the match that was announced 2 weeks ago. About an intergender match of a man and a woman going up against each other. And Disco Inferno has tried to hype up how she's going to get her butt whooped. That she's no match for him. Now, my feelings, I want to say this clearly for any women that are watching, like my cousin or anybody else. Well, my sister cousin. I'm getting so confused. When it comes down to it, in wrestling, we have intergender matches all the time in the independent scene. So you see men beating women, women beating men, legitimately women powerbombing men, and men powerbombing women. So I don't care who you are as long as you do a damn good job in the ring. I love seeing both sexes doing the job well, and particularly if they're intergender like this. And what do we get? We got a match that was by the numbers. And that's not a bad thing. You got Disco Inferno, Glenn Disco Inferno. I can't remember the guy. Del Berti or something. Wherever. He basically was the typical heel, and he hammed it up as much as he could to make it believable that he was a sexist, a misogynist, and is trying to show everybody that a woman is no match for a man. Then you got Scarlett Bordeaux. She's in my face. And I got one, I'm going to be honest here. I have one gripe when it comes to Scarlett, and I know a lot of people say, "What? You got a gripe against Scarlett? Are you serious? You say you want to marry the woman?" I said, yes, she's gorgeous, and for one to understand, she's legitimately a sweet, wonderful person in real life. And if she was sitting right there next to me, I probably would turn off this camera and just sit with her and talk for hours, because I would love to talk to a person that I'm in love with. But I still got to state what I feel. And honestly, this could have been done at the end of the year or the next year, because I wish for her to put someone else over, because she's such an amazing character. She knows how to use her sexuality well to influence male and female alike. And I felt she could have put someone else over along with herself. But we didn't get that, and that was the major problem for me personally. Now, getting that aside, was the match okay? It was okay. Disco Inferno made it very clear he was going to ham it up. He was going to make sure that she got as much sympathy as possible. Now, mind you, I'm sure many people are not going to be happy to see a woman having to have sympathy instead of kicking his butt like a Rey was in the Force Awakens and The Last Jedi, where a lot of people didn't like it. I'm going to say this to anyone who believed what happened to Scarlett Bordeaux, if they saw this, was dumb. They think that she should have just beat the crap out of him. To make a baby face, no matter who it is, male or female alike, particularly if he or she is smaller than the opponent, you must make them look viable to the audience, to the fans, to make them feel like this person's getting beat down, but they can get up and find a way to win. And if you do not understand the concept of how to get the fans or the crowd to cheer a person they've never seen wrestle before, this is the best way to do it. It is by the numbers. It's how a typical heel would get a typical face over. And I'm alright with it. Was it a spectacular match? No. But it wasn't the point to be a spectacular match. This was the debut of Scarlett Bordeaux, who is known to be an incredibly sexual woman. Many people didn't know if she could really wrestle. I believe she probably could wrestle, but she's very good with her character, very good with her talking, and that's the reason why I wanted her to put someone over along with herself, and by the end of the year of this year, 2019, would get into the ring. Maybe it would be great if it was Bound for Glory, really for her to debut there. That's what I really wanted for her. But in the end, it wasn't a bad thing. The way that Disco Inferno was legitimately trying to get as much heat on himself by grabbing her hair, by stamping on her hands, by stamping on her legs, and everyone saying, "This bastard, how can you do this to a woman? How can you do this?" And he's legitimately telling her, "This is what you want. This brought you on yourself. You brought this on yourself." You brought this on yourself. Take what you get. And that is how you get real heat and great pops. Particularly once Scarlett Bordeaux started going on a roll, and eventually you got he's in my face right now. He was crazy enough to go on to the second turn rope, ready to start hammering her in the face. And she legitimately grabbed him, and I couldn't get it. Maybe I might be able to get it, but I'm going to try, but I don't think I can. She powerbombed him into the damn mat and beat him 1, 2, 3. Perfect. Great. I loved it. That was wonderful. Now, the only problem I had with that entire segment was seeing Kiera Hogan with Alyssa Edwards. I don't think she should have been seen there. She should have been left out of the situation. If Alyssa Edwards had been there, that would have been alright. But seeing both of them, that made it kind of off when it comes to the end of the show. When it came to Kiera Hogan appearing in the Undead Realm. And I'll explain that later. Now, the opening of the show, which honestly, I didn't care about. And don't get me wrong, anyone else, they are going to care about this, because I'm sure they're invested seeing LAX versus the Lucha Brothers. I'm not against the feud itself, but I believe the feud could have been way better. Now, you see that LAX gets in the ring, and you see Conan saying, "Look, I didn't want this to happen. I tried to warn all of you. that this was going to happen. But in the end, you didn't want to listen, so now you're going to get beat down. So the Lucha Brothers come out. The fight starts because it's supposed to be a fight match. Not a street fight match, but some type of fight. The security comes down. Security gets beaten up. And then they have the fight in the ring. And in the end, LAX wins the fight. And then you hear Konnan once they came to the back after Ortiz. Ortiz did a nice segment. I wish he would do it in the ring. That's my problem. Why couldn't they just let him talk in the ring? But anyway, you now have to wait until I think the next pay-per-view to see if they're going to have the match. I think they are going to have the match. Where LAX is going up against Lucha Brothers for the titles. Now, let me put it in this perspective. I didn't like it because Konnan should have been choosing between the two. Because if the Lucha Brothers have a bit of an if LAX, Santana Ortiz started this, then Lucha Brothers retaliated back because the ones that Konnan started with here, started this, would have been, tell me below, see it in disrespect. I'm going to try to keep this under 25 minutes, but see in disrespect, a short story. You got LAX and you got the Lucha Brothers. They're both considered sons to Konnan, who's in my face. And he's telling them both, no match because you guys are going to fight one another. But they wanted a match because they're both the best tag teams that are in the business. They get the match. But then LAX has an attitude. And Konnan does not want to deal with that because he knows what's going to happen. And then eventually Konnan is right because the Lucha Brothers have the attitude. Now, why didn't Konnan go to the Lucha Brothers and try to stop it? He calms them down. He goes to the Lucha Brothers and say, look, this got to stop right now. He brings both groups together and say, you are family. Shake hands. I don't want to see you guys like this. We are going to go out. We're going to drink. We're going to care about each other. And they do it. They listen to Konnan. They make up. But then they want another match. They get it. No problem. They want another match. This time, the Lucha Brothers have an attitude. And then LAX retaliates again. And then eventually, there's an outright war between them. And Konnan's caught in the middle. And he must choose. I'm not a big fan of Konnan. I respect him as a not just a veteran, but a legend. The guy is a true legend in the business. He earned it. And I haven't been happy that he's been talking over Santana Ortiz. But in this situation, he should. In this situation, he must be the one to decide between the two because he's not doing it. Now he's just acting like it was between LAX and the OGs. And I don't see this right. Maybe they'll change it later, but as it stands, it sucks. Now, the Twitch stream, when it came to Melissa Santos, was it better from last week? Now, I don't know because I didn't watch. I don't know if the product was better when it was shown on Twitch. What I did see here from 2 weeks before was better. Her volume was working. She was audible. And for the most part, the advertisement didn't 100% cut her off. It was like about 20 or 30%. The advertisement was out of sync. Every time when she started, the advertising started. Or she wasn't seen, and then when they finally did show her, it cuts off again and then the advertisement's running. Now, someone needs to work that out. Advertisement should not be cutting off the person who's talking, no matter if it's her or anyone else. So if management of Impact is dealing with this, or it's her, someone's got to work this out. That advertisement either should be set up for one whole segment. In other words, there's like about, in 2 hours, maybe there are 5 or 6 segments where they cut off the video of the show and then they go to her. Maybe 1 or 2 of those 6 or 5 segments can be advertisement only and the rest can be her. I really believe they should be doing it like that. If it's 6, put 2 videos of just advertisement and the rest is Melissa Santos or whoever they have. If it's like that all the time, it's a big mess and they got to stop. Now, RVD has a documentary on Fight Network. I'm curious to see. I don't know if I'll be able to get Fight Network. I know I can get the app. I don't know if I have the money right now to do it, and I'm considering it. Maybe in the next couple of months, hopefully it'll still be there. I think they save it. So if I am going to see if I can do maybe 1 month of the Fight Network, and I know people say, dude, it's only $9.99. Let's see, you have to consider $9.99 that's going to be used for transportation to go to your doctor. Remember, I'm disabled. I have to be careful how much money I spend. And admittedly, it's not easy, particularly when I get depressed and I use almost my entire budget eating out when I should not be doing that. Because now I have no money for anything else, for entertainment or something. Anyway, let's move on. We have Gail Kim and Tessa Blanchard. Here's where I'm nervous. Great segment. Tessa Blanchard comes out, calls out Gail Kim, who was already going to come out anyway, because in the end, she was going to state that she was sorry and she was going to resign from her post as a creative writer for Impact Wrestling. She did the ring. Tessa hammed it up like any heel would, saying, tell me the reason why you're here. Tell me what you're sorry about. Come on, woman, let's go. And it gets all done. And then I knew this was going to happen, where pretty much she says, and this is before Gail Kim leaves, I have one last thing. For me to resign from my position, I asked one thing, and that's for me to be able to come back and kick your butt. And that's what she does in the ring. She basically beats up on Tessa Blanchard. And then goes to the back of the ring, and then goes to the Titantron. Well, Titantron that you can make. That's a tiny Titantron. But anyway, you're going to have the match at Rebellion. Tessa Blanchard versus Gail Kim. Gail must job. If anybody wants to see Gail Kim win this match, I say this to you. Gail Kim is a legend. There's no debating that. She worked in WWE. She worked in ROH. She worked in Impact Wrestling. She might have even worked in New Japan Pro Wrestling. I don't know. I never checked. But she's been around a long time. She's won and earned respect, even though they've overbooked her multiple times in Impact Wrestling. But she's not a constant force in Impact as a wrestler. She's a creative writer. She's part of creative. If she wins that match, it does not help Tessa unless she turns face. Now, if she doesn't turn face and she's still a heel and she's in that position, she loses out. If she does lose and turns face, then you can have her go up against Taya Valkyrie. But if she's not going to turn face, and that's Tessa Blanchard, and she's not going after the title after that, she must win. That's where I see it. If Gail Kim comes back, if it's only a one-time thing, it does not benefit her. But we don't know if this is a one-time thing for Gail Kim. She may do another run. Who knows? Next, you have Jordie Grace versus Taya Valkyrie. I was waiting for this. Two muscle women up against each other. You got a woman who's showing huge amounts of cleavage to a woman who's showing huge amounts of butt cheeks. Was the match good? It was okay. The only reason I mentioned this situation of Taya Valkyrie's bust line and Jordie Grace's behind is the camera work that I think was a major issue here. I know that's kind of hard to say. Well, I know more than a few women and men are going to say, shut up. We like seeing cleavage and butt. But I'm seeing it from a point of view that you want to do a storyline. And if you're trying to do a storyline, but you're showing more, and forgive me for my language, ladies and gentlemen, tits and ass, it kind of ruins it a little bit. Mind you, it wasn't a bad match. And it reached the point where Taya supposedly got hurt from one of the moves that Jordie Grace gave her. And then you got the hubby coming out in a Johnny Evil. I'm calling Johnny Evil from now on if I don't forget. Johnny Evil is better than Johnny Impact any day. Johnny Evil comes out. And he pretty much tries to cover for his wife. Then you got Brian Cage coming out. Oh wait, I take that back. Wait, sorry. Let me wind back a little bit. since Jordynne Grace had the countout win, she did not win the title, but she won the match. Yes, it sounds, for anyone who's now learning about this, if you get a countout win, while it's a title match, the champion retains the title, and pretty much you may win the match, but you don't win the title. Unless there's special stipulations, that's the way it works. And in this situation, once Brian Cage came down because he wanted to get his hand on Johnny Evil, he circled the ring, and then Killer Kross, who had a match with him, came out and pretty much tried to choke him out. Now, was that a good thing? Yes and no. Because I think it would have been better at the end of the match than at the beginning of it. Because honestly, it does not help Killer Kross. And I know there's someone that I know who loves Killer Kross. I'm sorry, guy. When it comes down to it, Killer Kross has gained nothing. He's muscle. What has Killer Kross gained since Moose is no longer there with him? That he's working with Johnny Evil and I'm about to say Tessa, Taya Valkyrie. Nothing. He's just muscle again. And this is what I was worried about. He's doing nothing. Killer Kross has a great look. He's got great ring skill. He's good on the mic. But right now, what have they done with him? He's not money. He's muscle. He's doing nothing. Now, the match itself between Killer Kross and Brian Cage, it was okay. It was good. But to be honest, and I'm not against Brian Cage, I actually like him. To see a big guy like him acting like a smaller wrestler who can flip around, it's quite interesting. It's really, you don't see it every day. A large wrestler like him, almost 300 pounds, muscled out like crazy, and is able to do stunts like most lightweight wrestlers. It's great. But in this situation, Killer Kross was the one who really made the match work. Because he's lighter than him, even though he's taller than him, he doesn't tank as easily because unfortunately doing a style like that of high-flying wrestling is incredibly exhausting. And a guy with that much muscle cannot sustain without getting exhausted very easily. So that's what you got. In the end, Johnny Evil and Taya Valkyrie come out and basically distract. It didn't work very well, but in the end, Killer Kross still comes out on top because it seems the ref is on the tape now. Because the ref counted to 2, near 2.5. Brian Cage managed to get his arm up, but guess what? You still have Killer Kross win. Even the announcers realized it. And they 100% sold it as much as they could that the ref is on the tape. There's something going on. And then you got Brian Cage getting his arm destroyed by Johnny Evil. Good. That's going to build up into the next pay-per-view, which is Rebellion. Now, what was that guy's name? Josh Alexander. I don't really want to talk about him much, but I want to make sure that I don't want people to think I always forget everyone who comes in new. Sometimes I just don't mention them at all because I want to see how far they're going to go with this person or what they're going to do with this person. But I think this time I have to say something. He looks interesting, but then it makes me think of Killer Kross. And that's a little worrisome because he could be another Killer Kross. And if he's another Killer Kross, what then? Now another thing. OVE having Mad Dog, what was the guy's name? Mad Dog. I'm trying to remember his name. I can't remember what Mad Dog's name, but he was with OVE getting brainwashed. I don't know what to say yet, because I don't know how far they're going to go. But the guy was getting brainwashed. Finally, the last thing we need to care about. The Undead Realm segment. Now, I know a lot of people are not going to be 100% interested in this, but you need to understand that if you haven't heard, because I did find out from Andre Corbell that Ali has now left the company and is probably going to All Elite Wrestling. I'm hoping she'll be good in All Elite, and maybe the problems she was having in Impact Wrestling will go away because she might have been in a funk. I'm hoping that's the issue, because if it wasn't and she still acts the same way, then there's seriously something wrong with her. But this was the last time we would see Allie for quite a while. So what did we get in this? It's hard to describe all of this because I'm trying to keep this under 20 minutes and 25 minutes because this is going to be long. But let me put it to you in this respect. We got a segment of them going into the undead realm, and that's Rosemary and Allie trying to retrieve Allie's soul. Rosemary's dragging Allie's body with a chain around her neck without a soul in it, trying to get the soul back. And the thing is, they decided to do it in a ring segment. And Rosemary had to throw Allie into a corner and had to fight guys and girls in the ring, some of them with actual weapons, like a wrench, a sword. She brought a meat cleaver with her. But here's the interesting thing. Kiera Hogan decides to follow them both into the undead realm because she promised it doesn't make no difference. She's going to be there near the end. And in fact, she helps Rosemary by throwing a sword into the ring, and Rosemary legitimately cuts the throats of all the undead bridesmaids. Now that I liked. Not because I like horror or gruesomeness, but it's part of a story. WWE needs to take notes on this situation. How they book creative characters like Rosemary, because they could have done something special with Bray Wyatt or Finn Balor, who are supposed to be supernatural beings, and they're not doing it. It's such a waste. In this case, Rosemary is spotlighted so well, and the one who controls the undead realm is there. You see Father Mitchell is there, and I'll give it to you in this respect. When it finally comes down to it, and you see 100% Rosemary talking to the leader or the owner of the undead realm, saying, you came in here actually thinking you can do what you want? I control this. This is my domain. You're not getting what you want. You may come for her soul, but you're not going to get it. And guess what? The most interesting thing that gives salvation or redemption is that you have Su Yung, who is an agent of that realm, having blades on her hands like, what is the guy's name? Nightmare on Elm Street. And he is there. I forgot his name. Freddy Krueger. She had his hands, and she was charging at Rosemary, and she gets shoved out of the way by the empty vessel of Allie. And Allie's vessel dies. But Allie's supposed soul rejoins her body, and then she disappears, leaving the undead realm. This was the end of the Allie character. And Cherry Bomb, the person, well, I can't remember her actual name, but pretty much Allie has now been written off of Impact Wrestling so she can go to All Elite Wrestling. Am I happy that Allie's gone? Yes. I was never happy the way they spotlighted the story. It was wrong. I felt they could have done it better. But, and I make this a big caveat, even though I'm not happy how the story was, I am alright with the story ending the way it was, redeeming Allie. Because Allie deciding her vessel, or the spirit or soul that was in that realm that was being controlled, could not let her best friend that she legitimately loved so much die. She was willing to sacrifice her body for her. So, was this a good Impact? Hell yeah. Did it have flaws in it? Hell yeah. But was it better than WWE? Raw. Damn straight it was. Was it better than Smackdown Live? Damn straight it was. It may have been corny, but it was a better show than both of theirs combined. And yes, I am happy that Kofi Kingston is going to WrestleMania as the first black African, I don't care if he's African American, African, the first person of African descent going to WrestleMania and maybe winning the title. I'm happy about that, but his show sucked. But I'm glad to see this show. But you guys tell me how you feel. Have a good day. Have a good night. Peace!